Your forecast first, sponsored by Matex Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing.
Well, a calm night out there tonight in Champaign, albeit a warm one. As we look at the satellite and radar picture, clear skies, pretty nice, but these temperatures, 10 o'clock, we're still into the upper 70s across the area. So definitely feeling a little more summer-like. And we're going to do this again tomorrow. We're talking about temperatures back in the upper 80s again. It's going to be a warm one. But the main focus will be on thunderstorms that are going to develop and potentially bring severe weather. A strong line of storms may be moving through the area tomorrow afternoon. We'll track these for you, show you what to expect, but the biggest threats will be with those storms when we come back here in just a little bit, so stick around. WCI3 News starts right now.
Now from WCIA3 News.
When he walked in the room, he was like the life of the party.
Loved ones are remembering 4 people tonight after they were killed in a car crash. Plus, it's a dispute over how to handle protesters, where the governor and president stand tonight.
So we're guiding them in a different direction, in a different way.
And it's a chance at another future for at-risk youth, how one organization is helping them achieve it.
You're watching your local news leader. This is WCIA3 News at 10.
I just was at a loss for words. I just couldn't almost breathe. I couldn't think properly,
Family and friends say they're devastated after 4 people were killed in a crash early Monday morning. Good evening, I'm Paul Cicchini. Police say a car ran a red light at the intersection of East Grand Avenue and North Water Street in Decatur and was hit by a semi, killing 4 passengers. Officers say the driver, Demetric Dixon, ran from the car and went to a hospital where he was later arrested. He was charged with aggravated DUI. WCIA3's Jen Lask spoke to loved ones of the victims who are sharing their favorite memories.
He was just like an all-around good guy. Everybody loved being around him. When he walked in the room, he was like the life of the party.
Armani Cooper's cousin Natalia says the world has lost a role model. She's remembering his kindness and hard work ethic.
He was just an all-around good person, always hardworking, and he liked to have fun. And he's just like a good father figure, a good brother figure, like a big brother. He has a younger brother and an older brother, but he seemed to be the big brother of the two.
Outside Brittany King's home, her family is struggling with the realization that Brittany is gone.
I was a strong little girl right there. She graduated, she was good, she worked, good loving person. I don't know what really to say.
She looked so pretty in this picture.
She was always smiling.
She loved smiling.
Her sisters and cousins say they're going to miss her love for fashion.
She loves to smell good, like to dress up and stuff.
She used to love doing nails, like all the time. She would want to do my nails, and I used to come over the house, and we would just have a great time. Brittany was always laughing, smiling. There was not a bad bone in Brittany's body, so it's kind of hard that she, had to pass this way.
Her oldest sister says Kiki Bowman was Brittany's best friend, and Shawnez Harper was her boyfriend.
Kiki was Brittany's best friend. Of course, inseparable. They've been friends since probably freshman year or before. They were really close, and she was such a good mom and such a wonderful girl. He was a real cool guy, real fun guy. He was cool with everybody, loved everybody.
They say the world will miss this group of kind people.
I just want to say that Brittany was the best sister ever, and that I love and miss her a lot.
In Decatur, Jen Lask, WCIA3, your local news leader.
A 5th passenger was also seriously hurt. He was airlifted to Springfield with a neck injury. Funeral services were held today for a man who was shot and killed in Champaign last month. James Coleman was shot at Gramercy Park Apartments. There was a procession this afternoon, but Urbana police had to assist after dispatch received several calls saying the procession was using all lanes of traffic. They found the procession driving north on Vine Street's southbound lane. They were able to restore regular traffic and escorted the procession to its ending point at Salt and Light on South Philo Road. The coroner identified the teenager who was recovered from a pond in Rochester. Rescuers were called to the pond off Minder Road. 18-year-old Devin McUliza was pronounced dead at the scene. Investigators say the caller and McUliza had been fishing. They say he was trying to swim across the pond. The Decatur Fire Department responded to 4 fires overnight. It was the second night in a row the department had a high number of calls. The department has recently responded to 11 fires, most at abandoned houses. 10 of those fires are being investigated as suspicious. Right now, crews say there's no evidence these are linked to any of the protests in Decatur. The nearly 30 people who were arrested Sunday into Monday morning in Champaign for violent protests were in court today. 27 are facing charges ranging from mob action to burglary. Others facing charges include battery to a police officer and resisting an officer. Some pleaded not guilty, while others are waiting for their next hearing. These arrests happened mainly at Piccadilly Liquors on John Street, Circle K on Springfield, and City Trends on Prospect Avenue. While they were in court, one group of volunteers came out to offer support. They're part of an organization that helps pay bail.
If folks are out here trying to protest and stuff like that, then of course we know that they're probably going to need more help, especially since they're mass protests, which means there'll probably be mass arrests. So especially during COVID-19, there's going to be a lot of people in close quarters in that jail.
For a full list of the arrests, charges, and where those people are from, check out WCIA.com. President Trump repeated calls to crack down on violent protesters today, while the governor urged the president to listen to the peaceful protesters. As our Capitol Bureau Chief Mark Maxwell reports, the challenges of recent days have drawn a stark contrast in how our elected leaders prefer to wield the powers of government.
Many of Illinois' most prominent politicians have openly and publicly clashed with President Trump over when and where to use the force of the federal government in times of crisis. For example, in the coronavirus, to provide care, or in the face of public protests to prevent harm.
If you don't dominate, you're wasting your time. They're going to run over you. You're going to look like a bunch of jerks. You have to dominate.
In a Monday phone call with American governors, President Trump offered military force to crack down on protests that in some cases had attracted vandals, looters, and arsonists. Governor Pritzker pushed back against what he called inflammatory rhetoric directly to the president in that phone call and in public, arguing the president's words only made the difficult job of law enforcement that much harder.
You know, when you don't have national leaders who are bringing down the temperature in situations like this, it tends to fan the flames. Look at the words that the president has put out on Twitter. Look at the words that he says. You know, he talks about total domination. I don't want to dominate peaceful protesters who have legitimate grievances.
In audio obtained by CBS News, the president took issue with Pritzker's public calls for him to use the Defense Production Act to force companies to produce supplies to help fight COVID-19.
I don't like your rhetoric much either, because I watched it with respect to the coronavirus, and I don't like your rhetoric much either.
In the past, Pritzker has said the president was too reluctant to use force with corporations. Illinois Senator Tammy Duckworth said he was too quick to use military force against peaceful protesters.
And I was appalled that this commander-in-chief was flying Black Hawk helicopters above Americans exercising their First Amendment rights. How dare you politicize our military?
President Trump's show of strength comes when former President George W. Bush says what the nation needs most in a moment like this is empathy and compassion. Reporting in Springfield, Mark Maxwell.
At least 3 Republican senators also condemned President Trump's use of force to clear the streets ahead of a photo opportunity yesterday. Tonight on Twitter, the president defended the use of force because someone had lit fire to the church the night before. Testing sites across Illinois remained closed today because of the protests. Health leaders in Illinois say they were glad to see people wearing masks while exercising their rights, but COVID-19 is still present. Both health departments in Champaign and Sangamon County suggest if you were protesting, get tested. Public Health says the state testing sites will reopen tomorrow. As for the state's COVID-19 numbers, in the past 24 hours, 1,600 more cases were reported. That brings the state's total to nearly 123,000. 113 more people have died, bringing the total number of deaths to more than 5,500. Black boxes filled social media today. We'll tell you what it was all about. Plus, some say there's something in your communities you can help support, who one person says you should buy from. And the U of I took a big financial hit because of COVID-19, what some in the athletic department are doing to help out.